Alright, so in this session, we will be discussing the material self, and based on our discussion from the past, specifically with the philosophical perspective, we have learned about the material self. So these things, people as well as experiences from the past are considered as part of our material self. So we try to explore different aspects of the self, specifically with this kind of material self. So according to William James, he is a father he's the father of psychology. The material self refers to tangible objects. So these things are things that we can observe. Okay, tangible sabihin na hawakan. Okay, people or places that carry the designation my or mine. Ito daw yung atin. No? So can you consider some things or some people who might be part of your material self? So ano itong mga bagay na to? Sino itong mga tao na ito? So anything that we evoke emotional feelings to, like things, persons, and experiences that we have in our lives are part of our material self. So can you identify some things that you consider part of your material self, or to be added as your recitation for this morning? Okay? So, nung mga bata kayo, ano itong mga bagay na ito na tingin ninyo parte ng inyong material self? Okay? Meron ba kayong paborito na gamit doon na hindi kayo komportable kapag nawala ito? Halimbawa, meron kayong dito yung ballpen na G-Tech, ganyan. Tapos, pinapangalan ninyo, nilalagay ninyo ng pangalan yung ballpen, o kaya minsan yung lapis, ganyan. Paborito ninyo yung lapis. Let's say, for example, yung magic pen na tinatawag. O kaya naman, yung baunan ninyo, pencil case, o kaya naman yung mga crayons ninyo ng mga bata kayo. Yan. O kaya naman, naalala ninyo ng mga bata kayo, meron kayong paboritong damit na binili sa inyo ni nanay. So these things possibly could recognize as part of your material self. O kaya naman, meron ba kayong koleksyon noong mga bata kayo? Halimbawa, yung mga magic cards, o kaya naman yung sa Yu-Gi-Oh! Diba? Ganyan. O kaya yung mga text. Sino yung mga naglalaro ng Pogs? Ganyan. O kaya naman, Tamagotchi. Mga ganyan. O kaya yung brick game. So these things, no, possibly that is part of your material self. So again, can you identify some things that is part of your material self? Tao man yan, material man yan na bagay, o kaya experiences man yan. So ilagay ninyo sa ating info messages to be part of your recitation. So a man's self is the sum total of all that he can call his, not only his body and his psychic powers, but his clothes and his house. Pati pala yung bahay natin, pati pala yung damit natin. Parte yan ng ating material self. Pati yung asawa ninyo, halimbawa, kaya naman yung boyfriend or girlfriend niyo, pati yung anak ninyo. Let's say, for example, kayo ba you consider yourself as part of your family? No? And his ancestors, and his friends' reputation and works, lands and horses, and yacht, and bank account. Yan. Halimbawa, simula ng pagkabata ninyo, pinag-iipon kayo ni nanay. Sino dito yung mahilig mag-ipon ng pera? Kahit yung barya-barya lang, okay, nagtatabi sa bank account niya, kaya sa kanyang alkansya. Diba? Tinuruan tayo halimbawa ni nanay, tinuruan halimbawa tayo ni tatay kung paano mag-ipon. Na, bibilhan kita ng tawag dito, alkansya. Yan. Pag-ipunan mo para ikaw ay makapili ng itong bagay. Sino yung mga nag-iipon dito sa klase natin? Meron ba nag-iipon sa inyo? Yan. Okay. So, material self-investment, no? Meron tayong mga bagay na ini-invest. Meron tayong binibigay sa sarili natin. Most likely, our clothes. O kaya naman, mga bagay to improve our physical features. Halimbawa, you invest with your physical body. Of course, anong ginagawa niyo para maging maganda ang physical na katangian natin? Kasi for example, try to buy some things about for your facial yung skincare ninyo. Sino meron mga skincare dito routine? So, sir, ako po, naghihilamos po ako. Kaya bago po ako matulog, yan. naliligo po muna ako. Okay? Sir, ako po, gumagamit po ng lotion, gumagamit po ako ng mga sunscreen bago po ako lumabas ng bahay. Iniingatan ko po yung skin ko po na baka po ma-damage. Okay? So these things that we try to do in order for us to invest in our body. Now, we also have clothes, our family, as well as our home. So these investments may come in different forms like time. No? Minsan, pag meron tayong relationship, we try to invest our time to that person, di ba? Kasi it is important for them to feel that they being cared of. Okay, we also invest effort. Yan, bibili tayo ng mga bagay. O kaya naman, minsan, we invest money to these type of relationships or experiences. Di ba? Minsan, namamasyal kayo. O kaya naman, minsan, pumupunta kayo kung saan dati, hindi pa ninyo napupuntahan para at least you have this bonding with that person. Okay, so this type of investment is part of your material self. Okay? Okay. Now we have the body. So it is the innermost part of the material self. So we take care of it because we cannot live without it. So having a healthy body, make sure we can experience life to the fullest. Okay? So minsan, binibigyan natin pagpapahalaga yung katawan natin. O, paano ninyo pinapahalagahan ang inyong mga katawan? Halimbawa, kumakain kayo ng tama, nag-exercise kayo. Ano pang ginagawa ninyo? Umiinom ng tubig, no? 8 glasses of water a day. Ano pa? Umiinom ng vitamins, okay? Ano yung mga investment ninyo sa sarili ninyo o sa self ninyo? Sir, ako po, nag-aaral po akong mabuti. Yan. So, possible that you are taking this degree in order for you to achieve later on your dreams in life. No? Kaya naman, pangarap mo magkaroon ng negosyo, pangarap mo magkaroon ng sarili business o kaya naman maging employed eventually, no? Ng isang magandang kumpanya wherein you will be compensated. Well, sabihin, babayaran kanila ng maganda because you have performed from the past as well as while you are staying in school. No? Of course, we choose our clothes. Halimbawa, ano yung mga bagay sa atin ng mga damit? No? We try to qualify based on our understanding of trend. Halimbawa, you identify yourself as someone who is inclined with this genre and you will use this kind of fashion para may pakita sa iba na ito yung ikaw. Okay? Now, we also have our family and home. So family, our immediate family members influence who we are. And being a consistent social component in our lives, it is natural for us to have an impeccable emotional attachment and investment. Okay, so halimbawa, minamahal natin yung mga magulang natin. Paano natin, ay wala pa nagre-recite sa mga students natin. Again, it is part of your grades, yung pagre-recite ninyo. Paano ninyo pinapakita sa inyong mga magulang o sa mga kapatid ninyo yung pagpapahalaga ninyo sa kanila? Halimbawa, pinapakita ko po sa magulang ko po na mahalaga sila sa pamamagitan ng paano. O kaya pinapakita ninyo sa inyong mga kapatid pagpapahalaga ninyo sa kanila sa pamamagitan ng paano yung mga yan. We also have home. So likely they say home is where your heart is. Naniniwala ba kayo sa kasabihan na ito na yung puso natin, no, kahit saan man tayo pumunta, nandoon pa rin yung damdamin natin para sa pamilya natin o kaya naman doon sa mahal natin sa buhay. Kahit saan man tayo magpunta, no, wherever we proceed o kaya naman eventually our career progresses, eventually we will miss our home, yung pamilya natin. Okay? Our earliest and fondest memories of self-discovery start from home. So everything that we have learned from the past most likely being developed by whom. So it is a place where our memories growing up are witnessed. Diba? Simula ng pagkabata tayo, naalala natin, ganito ang binibigay sa akin ni nanay, ganyan ang trato sa akin ni tatay. Okay? So it is an extension of the multiple versions of who we are. Okay? Now, next we have psychological ownership. When we talk about the psychological ownership, these are The things we cannot really own them literally. However, we own them in our mind or in our psyche. Now, the psychological tangible objects we own do not literally become part of who we are. And it is our psychological ownership of things we own, so which evoke emotion that makes our material self, not physical ownership. Okay, halimbawa, no, si Ella, nawala ni Ella yung kanyang paboritong spoon o kutsara. So, maliit siya. Parang siguro may design yon, tapos kulay pink. Yung paborito niyang spoon o kutsara. Her mother said she had to give it up because it became too small for her anyway. O, kalimutan mo na yan, anak. Total, luma naman na yung, ano yan, yung kutsara na yan. Kalimutan mo na yan. Wala namang halaga naman sa'yo. Hindi mo na rin magagamit. Diba? Ngayon, nasaktan si Ella. It was difficult to let it go because it is something that she grew up with, something that was part of her childhood's everyday life. Okay? Naalala pa ba ninyo ng mga kabataan ninyo, meron kayong paboritong gamit na pag nawala, talagang iniiyak ninyo. Diba? Halimbawa, sino dito nagkaroon ng, ng alaga ng mga bata sila? Bawa, sir ako po, nagkaroon po ako ng alagang pusa. Sir ako po, nagkaroon po ako ng alagang aso. Sir ako po, nagkaalaga po ako ng sisiyo o kaya bibe. Di ba hinahanap-hanap natin minsan sila kahit na wala na sila sa buhay natin ngayon. Kasi for example, namatayan ka ng pusa o namatayan ka ng alaga. You still remember the time that you spend with that alaga or with that pet that you had. Or kaya naman, meron kang damit na pinamana sa pinamana sa kapatid mo, na maalala mo, ito yung damit na pinahiram ko sa'yo, di ba? So, there are sentimental values about those things, people, o kaya naman, mga bagay na nakuha natin in the past. Now, Ella may no longer have the spoon, but her sense of appreciation for it stays with her. So, even without the spoon, so she can still remember that figure, di ba? Bawa kayo, nawalan kayo ng gamit ng bata kayo. Kinuha pala ng classmate ninyo yung ballpen ninyo na paborito, G-Pep na naman yun. So, meron pang pangalan ninyo. Not having it physically, but having very good memories with it makes the spoon constant, important part of Ella's life. Meron tayong mga bagay na kinukonsumo, kaya meron mga bagay na binibili. Pero eventually, siguro pag nawala, hindi na importante. Kapag nawala, wala na, okay na yun, okay lang sa akin yun. Pero meron namang mga bagay na kapag nawala yung bagay na parang nami-miss natin. Yan. Okay. Now, let's proceed with consumer culture. We have Miguel. Okay. So, Miguel is a tech-savvy millennial. So, he has a good paying job. Halimbawa kayo, pagka nagtatrabaho na kayo, syempre, afford na ninyo bumili ng sarili ninyong gamit. So, gaya ni Miguel, kaya na niyang bumili ng updated na technology o kaya cellphone. So, gadgets released to the market, he can afford them and considers the following when deciding on purchasing or buying. So, whenever you buy online, ano yung mga kino-consider ninyo kapag kayo ay bibili ng mga bagay na ito? Halimbawa, bibili kayo sa Shopee. Ano yung tinitingnan muna ninyo bago ninyo bilhin itong bagay na ito? Sir, ako po, bago po ako bumili, tinitingnan ko po muna yung ganito. Binabasa ko po muna yung ganyan. Ano yung mga considerations ninyo? Ano yung qualifications natin bago natin bilhin ang isang bagay? Bawa, mamahalin na cellphone, mamahalin na laptop, ganyan. O pagkadating sa sa bahay ninyo, expectation versus reality. Yung binili ko ba ay katugma ng specification na tinitingnan ko? Tinitingnan muna natin kung ano yung review o kaya naman ano yung stars na nakuha ng material na to. Yan. So, tinitingnan muna natin bago natin talaga bilhin kasi baka mamaya pagdating sa bahay natin, hindi pala yun yung expected na material natin. Okay? So, the concept of material culture where our values, attitudes, behaviors, and activities are defined by our ability to consume goods and services. Okay? Kaya minsan, gusto natin bilhin yung mga bagay because we afford them. Kaya naman, ipinanghihiram natin para ma-afford natin. Kaya naman, Pinanghihiram natin para makuha natin ang bagay na ito. Our ability to consume certain goods and services tells something about our status in society. Anong ibig sabihin nito? No? Kapag ka-afford natin, nasa ganitong level tayo. Minsan naman, meron mga tao na nanghihiram para mapunta sila sa status na gano'n. O kaya they will be perceived as someone who can afford that gadget kahit hindi naman talaga. So if we can afford it, we can live with it. Without purchasing power, we cannot experience it and therefore cannot be part of who we are. Naranasan ba ninyo ito na kumbaga minsan, meron talaga kayong gustong bilhin na bagay. Tapos, balang araw, pangarap ko makabili ng ganyan. No? Balang araw, pag-iipunan ko yan, magkakaroon ako ng ganyan. Balang araw, magkakaroon ako ng trabaho, bibilihin ko rin yan eventually. Magkakaroon ako ng ganyan. Diba? Sino yung mga nangangarap magkaroon ng magandang cellphone? Sino yung mga nangangarap na magkaroon ng magandang gamit? O kaya magandang damit? O, diba? Presentable na gamit. Kahit presentable sir, kahit hindi po mamahalin. Okay lang po yun. Kaya nga po ngayon, nag-aaral po ako mabuti para makuha ko po ang mga bagay na po na yan. So these are the things that we consider in order for us to achieve these things. Okay? Paano yung mga strategies natin para makuha natin yung mga bagay na yan? Okay. Now, Miguel can sustain a lifestyle of being up to date with the latest technology trends because he has a good paying job. So kung afford mo naman, wala nang pumipigil sa'yo kung gusto mong bilhin ang mga bagay na ito. Hindi mo naman siya pinanghihingi, hindi mo naman siya pinanghihiram. No? Miguel can sustain a lifestyle because of this job that he has. Not everyone is like Miguel. No? Halimbawa, gaya ni Sir Donnies, kung ano yung cellphone ko noong last 2 years, yun pa rin yung cellphone ko. Wala naman akong issue sa cellphone ko. Gumagana naman siya. O kaya naman, kung afford mo naman, wala problema kung makakabili ka. Now, he is offered whenever he wants to buy a gadget, so he can buy it already. Now, some people are not eligible to be granted a credit card or a personal loan. Yan. Bawa, gusto mo magkaroon ng tawag dito ng aircon o kaya naman ng refrigerator. So, minsan pinapangutang natin. Kasi importante dahil masyadong mainit o kailangan nating mag-back ng mga goods in order for us to deliver it fresh. No? So, pass certain requirements based on their proof of income. Now, this shows us that consumer culture reflects of who we are depending on what we can afford to buy for ourselves and for our own. So, yung mga bagay na afford natin, kino-consider natin yun ng part of our material self. It shows the power to determine the parameters within which individuals of consumer society can live their everyday lives. Halimbawa, no? Nauso yung iPhone. Okay? Ano ba yung latest na iPhone ngayon? Halimbawa. So, afford naman nila, then possible that they can own it, that they can have the psychological ownership over that material. Diba? So, it also represents kung anong social status niya because hindi naman lahat kayang i-afford yung ganong technology. Okay? So, minsan, parang reward din kasi nila yan sa sarili nila. Sino dito yung mga kapag meron silang mga nagawang maganda, no, o kaya naman meron silang na-achieve, nire-reward nila yung sarili nila sa pamamagitan na pagbili ng mga bagay. Oh, deserve ko naman to, bibili ko talaga to. Yan. Deserve ko naman yung ganyan, kaya bibili ko talaga to. Yan. So minsan, it is okay for us to reward ourselves with that. O pinagtrabahuhan ko naman, di ko naman hiningi ito eh. So bakit kayo magre-react sa akin? Ang galing na mag-ilaw. Lumiliwanag yung mukha. Advertising is about communicating to encourage consumption of commercial goods and services based on what people want and need. Okay. Kapag kayo ay bibili ng mga gamit, kapag kayo ay bibili ng mga bagay, no? Minsan we are being influenced by artista. Diba? Paborito mong artista si pangalan nito. Si Catherine Bernardo, kaya sino nga ba yung partner niya? Ano ba yung mga basta yun, yung partner ni Catherine Bernardo, lumabas sila sa sa video ng sa Daniel Padilla. Halimbawa, lumabas sila sa, sa advertisement. So, nakita mo, paborito mo talaga siya eh. Bibilihin mo ngayon yung gamit. Kahit hindi mo naman talaga kailangan, bibilihin mo yung gamit. O kaya sino nakaabot dito nung yung sa McDonald's, yung BTS meal. Di ba? Bawa, hindi ka naman dati kumakain masyado ng fast food sa McDonald's. Pero, simula nung nakita mo yung advertisement ng BTS, parang napapabili ka ngayon, parang mas gusto mo parang mas gusto mo nang bumili ngayon, parang masarap ngayon yung pagkain doon kasi merong sauce ng yun eh, nakasama yung BTS na picture, di ba? Makita mo, BTS. Tapos ang kakainin mo yung gravy, tapos yung may chicken, di ba? Parang sarap na sarap ka talaga sa pagkain mo. So we are being influenced by these individuals. Okay, can you give some example of advertisement na talagang tumatak sa inyo, kaya napapabili talaga kayo. Halimbawa, lagi sinasabi lagi sa advertisement ng Shopee, di ba? Sabi nila, deserve mo ito. So, every time na meron kang gagawin mahirap, ang gagawin mo, talagang bibili ka sa Shopee. Kasi you are being reinforced by this advertisement na, meron ako nagawang tama, meron ako nagawang something about myself. Deserve ko to, bibili ako ngayon. Okay? O kaya naman, halimbawa, boysen, halimbawa. So, you are being influenced by these factors. Ano pa yung mga tumatak sa inyo na mga advertisement? Talagang napapabili kayo because of these strategies that they have. Halimbawa, yung Jollibee, di ba? Pagka nag-advertise ang Jollibee, they try to attack the emotions of these target market. No, minsan, dahil Pilipino ay likas na emotional in terms of family members, they try to advertise their product based on emotion. Diba? Minsan, papakita yung magnanay o kaya naman yung maglola o kaya matagal na magjowa tapos bigla nagkita ulit, nagkabalikan and all. Diba? Yung sa Jollibee, sir, yung toilet that. Okay, so this is how mass media and advertising try to influence the way we behave in terms of our consumption. Okay, mass media is contributory to advertising and shaping purchasing behavior since these provide ways to advertise. Meron tayong iba't ibang mass media that distribute this advertisement. Nandiyan yung internet, nandiyan yung radyo, nandiyan yung nandiyan yung social media, nandiyan yung television, halimbawa. O kaya si Willie Revilla di ba? Dahil kasi ginagawa niya pagpaputi. White locks ba 'yan? Gano'n. So, halimbawa, you're being influenced by the dancer, sumasayaw sila, maganda sila, tapos maputi sila and all. Now, you are being influenced because siguro magiging maganda ako katulad nito. Now, these factors try to influence you. So, nasa sa inyo pa rin yun. Kung bibili kayo o hindi. Okay, ang tanong, what are the most memorable advertisement you know? Anong mga bata kayo? Ano yung mga naalala ninyo ng mga advertisement? Ako naalala ko dati yung yung sa asin, di ba yung ang asin wala talagang advertisement yan. Meron lang yung sa iodized salt, nakalimutan ko yung pangalan. So these are the things that we consider, no? Kaya naman yung Shopee sir, puro free shipping. Sabi free shipping daw, ganun parang may mesmerize tayo ng mga ng mga ganitong mga effects. Ano pa yung mga naalala ninyo mga advertisement noon? Now, what medium was used to communicate the advertisement? Sila ba yung mga napapanood ninyo? Sila ba yung napapakinggan ninyo sa radyo? Sila ba yung nakikita ninyo sa social media? What characteristics make it memorable? Nakakatawa ba yun? O kaya naman nakakalungkot ba yun? Touching ba yun? O kaya very informative ba yun? Now, were you convinced to purchase the goods and services offered due to the advertisement? Okay, natuwa ka. Binili mo ba? Minsan nagpapadala tayo sa mga panliligaw ng ganitong mga ganitong advertisement. It's okay if it brought you happiness naman and satisfaction. So, wala namang na pakilamanan yan. Okay, the conclusion. So, the material self refers to the aspect of the self that relates to the things we consider ours, those with which we have an emotional attachment and had significantly invested on Of course, our material self-investment, this includes our body, our clothes, our families, and our homes. Yeah. Also, we have the psychology of ownership as that owning something in that not based on physical presence, but in our lives, rather on our psychological appreciation of those things. So may mga bagay daw na kahit nawala na sa atin yun, no? Nananatili pa rin sa puso't isipan natin ang mga bagay. Okay, we also have consumerism, advertising, and mass media that really influence how we behave in our consumption. Okay, for the next topic, we will be discussing it later on for a while.